No, I do get where you're coming from. Even maybe if he lost a limb or something, that could have been interesting. You know, maybe,
Hashtag meme Alfred.
I mean, you know. Hello, everyone. Welcome to No Drama, Just Movies, and we are back this week with another review. This time, we are reviewing none other than Matt Reeves, the Batman. My name is Cameron Thumb Drive Kelly Smith, and I am joined by my esteemed colleague here.
Phil Rata Elada Cohen.
Oh, that's right. I mean, in another life, we probably were bats with wings, or penguins with wings, or birds with wings, or a stool pigeon, whatever it is that penguin or anyone said in that
Now,
movie.
now with thumb drives.
Oh, yeah. But we are No Drama, Just Movies, and we are here to review Matt Reeves, the Batman from 2022. Obviously, this is a continuation of our rewatch and re-review series, where they have been releasing every single of the live-action Batman movies over here in the UK. And we've been reviewing every single one of them. And here we are at the final one here, Matt Reeves, the Batman. So I'm going to take it straight to you. When this movie came out, had a lot of hype, had a lot of anticipation. The first solo Batman movie since we left with Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight Rises from 2012. The question is, what did you think?
The first time. Um, I did enjoy the most of the visuals. I did enjoy the visuals. I did enjoy the story and um the influences, I guess, as well, because I think like very much influenced by Se7en, David Fincher's Se7en. I enjoyed that. I think back then and now, I didn't quite get attached to Robert Pattinson's performance. He's really good as Batman, I think, but there is no variation between Batman and Bruce Wayne. We could get into that, but yeah, that's my overall thoughts about that. Because not much has changed, I think. I enjoyed it a little bit more on the rewatch, I think. But yeah, it's basically the same things that I enjoyed before.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I loved this movie when it released. And I would say that I still love it now. It might be a bit more on the I really enjoy this movie rather than loved. And the only reason for that is simply because I felt the length a bit this time. This was, I think, overall, I think the third time I've seen this movie, twice when it came out. And then obviously the third time here with a rewatch. And I did feel the length just a little bit more. Um, Ultimately, we're gonna get into it, but I think that, and let's just get into it now. Actually,
Yeah.
I think that when this movie came out, one of the things that was most appealing, I will never forget when the first trailer for this movie came out. Never forget when the first trailer for this movie came out. And there have been few times where I've seen an initial trailer for a comic book movie or film in general and felt goosebumps. And that was probably one of the few times when I watched an initial first trailer for a movie and felt, obviously, as a Batman fan, a bit biased, but I thought, wow, like I'll never forget that trailer starting. And, I don't know if you remember, but the WB logo was in red. And every time it moved forward in the screen, it was to the sound of the sellotape. And then we shifted to, basically Riddler taping up his first victim's mouth. But it was very much so crime drama, psychological thriller, murder mystery. And that's my bag. I think this is the thing as well. If you love or enjoy detective crime thrillers, murder mysteries, psychological thrillers, I think that if that is your thing and you are a Batman fan, it's a perfect marriage, right? I think that if you are a fan of both genres, it's only going to help going into this movie. You're gonna probably enjoy it a bit more. I
Yeah.
think that if you are not a fan of those genres, this is a Batman movie where it is a bit more, dare I say, slower. And when I say slower, there isn't as much action. It does take a bit of a time to build. It is as what Matt Reeves described it as. It is a murder mystery
Mhm.
movie. This is Batman being the world's greatest detective. And there's many things about this movie that I love, and I gotta admit that. I think that it made me really excited for what is to come with the Batman 2 when that eventually does come. Because I think that ever since Christopher Nolan, I think that I would even say second to Christopher Nolan, maybe even above Christopher Nolan. I think that I haven't seen, in my opinion, a director in live action take on the Batman property and create a world that's so rich with promise. To
Mm.
me, that's the thing I love also about this movie. I think there's a lot of promise. Visually, it looks like a comic book, but then it also has elements where it's very grounded. It has so many areas of the Batman mythos that we haven't explored in live action. This is Batman in year two of his career. This is, whereas in Batman Begins, obviously we do explore Batman being Batman for the first time. By the time we reach the Dark Knight, Batman's an established Batman. And so we kind of jumped that. But I think there's a lot of things here that we hadn't seen previously in live action iteration of Batman that we got. And I really did appreciate. But did the murder mystery angle work for you?
Absolutely. Like I love Seven basically, which this is really based on. Like I saw it again, like how much it takes from Seven, like right down to the ending, like the not just the many notebooks the killer has and him like giving himself up, I guess, but also that Batman technically is his last victim, like one of the detectives being the last victim. Spoilers for Seven, by the way. Uh, and like right down to the idea that one of the detectives, in this case Batman, I guess, as well, like finds his hope again for the city. Like yeah, and I love the slowness of it that you mentioned. I think it needs that for a detective story because it is all about like let's have a look at the clues and then we can figure out what the guy is. But I love the grittiness. It felt very almost realer, I think, than Nolan in a way. Like the grime and like the yeah, just the city, the dirt of the city, really. And yeah, and I enjoyed all of that.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's the thing. Like they explore or at least show us parts of Batman that we just, and when I say Batman, I mean a universe, the comic as a whole, comic, you know what I mean when I say comic, run of comics as a whole. Everything from there's so many things about it that I just really enjoy. Everything from the fact of that it is year two, how the suit looks, that it is very amateurish, the fact that um Gotham, the way visually it looks, the color palettes, the red, the oranges, it's just really love. Even little stuff like Wayne Manor being this gothic, vampire cave essentially, But I just like the differences in that, and one of the things that I will say, which is a bit of a critique, but it didn't affect me as much. You mentioned, obviously, for example, with you, how you felt like, Bruce Wayne and Batman, there's not really separate
Yeah.
identities there. Don't get me wrong. I think that is, I believe, by design, and that is referenced in the movie as well. My
Yeah.
critique about that is that, and it's not even necessarily the fact that there's not a separation between the two. It's I don't really get the idea of why Bruce is Batman. That's the only thing. And I think obviously we just came off of the Dark Knight trilogy. So you see that in Batman Begins why, and it's explained so perfectly why he chooses to be Batman. I don't necessarily see why he decides to be Batman in this movie. However, the thing that I will say that I do see is that I do see a severely damaged person that has a lot of anger that he's trying to take out on other people. And that I think is potentially a good enough reason for why he's
Hmm.
doing what he's doing. And I think that, maybe actually I'm actually talking a lot of crap because I guess that's kind of part of the arc with him in this movie where he starts off as a little bit of like almost like your Batman Dark Knight Returns esque, where he's not holding back his punches. He is very brutal and gritty and the whole vengeance thing. Whereas by the end of the movie, he realizes that, not to say he can't be as brutal as he was, but I think by the journey that he takes, he realizes that Batman now can be something more.
Mm.
But do you think that that was by design in terms of the lack of separation? That is something they might explore in part two, or
I when I first saw it, yeah, I thought this was a story about him realizing that he needs to be Bruce Wayne as well, that he can't just be Batman. Um, you mentioned we've just watched the Nolan trilogy, and it's similar actually to Batman Begins, I think. This whole idea of Bruce not wanting to have any part in the Wayne legacy. Kind of just, I want to be Batman, I want to like fight crime, and like I don't want to be a normal person. Um, and I thought at first it was about him finding that other him, basically that Bruce Wayne side of him. And I would have understood then uh, just the lack of separation if he has to find that first. But I think this time around, I thought it was more about finding hope, and finding out that as Batman, he can be a symbol not just for vengeance, but a symbol for hope as well. Um, so that the non-separation didn't really make sense. And just from an acting point of view, I just wanted to see more from Pattinson, because I think he's like really good actor now, apparently. Um, and so I was looking forward to that when he was announced as Batman and Bruce Wayne. Um, and yeah, I just wanted a little bit more from him, which is a bit of a shame. Like whether it was designed or not, it's just give us both. I think.
yeah, and I think one of the best scenes with that actually is when Alfred, is in hospital and Bruce is there by his side. That was a beautiful scene to me because you had Bruce for the first time in this movie really start to open up about his trauma. Like we referenced that a lot in when we was reviewing the Dark Knight trilogy, but like, clearly, but it's like finally starts to open up about that. Like he's bottling it in and he finally reveals like, listen, like, yes, that did affect me deeply up to this day. And part of my fear is never wanting to go through like something like that again and never wanting to see someone else that I care about having to go through
Yeah.
something like that again. And I thought it was a very beautiful scene. I'm very excited to see more of the chemistry between this version of Alfred and this version of Bruce Wayne, because I do feel like Andy Serkis and Robert Pattinson do have chemistry, but he's not the only person he has chemistry with in this movie because he has some amazing chemistry with good old Zoe Kravitz. I mean,
Aruga.
wow. Wow. What a tremendous actress, full of tremendous talent. And I mean that sincerely.
Okay.
I know we have different opinions on this, but I loved her as Selina Kyle. I thought that she's a great actress. She really, of course, had the sex appeal of that character, but also, I feel that she was also very compelling. I actually did resonate with her cause and where she was at. I thought that it was a good little twist for her to be the daughter of Carmine Falcone because it kind of shows once again that she is a direct product of this, corrupt Gotham in many ways, and the people that have been kind of kicked to the side and kicked to the curb. And I felt that she had really great chemistry with Robert Pattinson. I really enjoyed also the theme music as well, even for her when she makes her entrances or when she's like initially trying to steal Anika's passport and good old Bats appears and he has that moment where he covers her face and tries to keep her quiet and that was a really sexy moment. I mean, it looked like they were definitely calming each other down. Your thoughts on good old Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman?
On the sexy moment. I I think I'm still in Camp Hathaway. Um, I think she just brought a little bit more of the strength and a good mix of like strength and sex appeal. Like I think as I mentioned for that review, it's just she used both very equally. She knew how to use her femininity, her sexuality as a weapon, which didn't quite come out with this Catwoman, which might just be, a critique of the character rather than the acting itself. Um, but yeah, I think I'd preferred Anne Hathaway on that one.
Okay,
Uh,
now that's fair. I mean, what about your thoughts on, before we slowly get to the end of our review here? Riddler, Paul Dano's Riddler, Jeffrey Wright's Gordon. I mean, honorable mentions for sure.
It was a really good cast. Like Jeffrey Wright can do no wrong. Like he's awesome in everything I've seen him in. He's got the gravitas for Jim Gordon, I think.
Yeah.
Paul Dano, like I read somewhere someone like a comment underneath a video or something, someone complaining that he gets a bit whiny in all his roles. Um, and at first I thought, no, this is a cool role for him, like because he's very dark and like the videos he sends to the Batman or to the city were really like dark and cool and raw. Um, but then he's in the prison cell and he begins to howl, and I'm like,
Mm,
a little like at first it was interesting. It's with an interesting choice, but then it does become a little bit too whiny. Uh,
yeah.
but as a character itself, like I love like Riddler is one of my favorite, I think, next to the Joker because of the riddles, because of that the it attacks the just like Joker attacks his moral compass, I guess. The Riddler attacks his mind, in a sense, like his intellect, let's say. So yeah, I loved him as the bad guy. Uh, yeah,
Yeah. And I think the thing that I liked about the Riddler as well is that he was used as somebody who was helping to reveal the truth about the city, right? The truth about the corruption. And I really enjoyed, him revealing that corruption doesn't just include, politicians, lawmakers, police, but it extends to the Waynes as well. And I really did enjoy that element. Yeah, I was a big fan of Riddler in this movie, and I loved how he was also used as the serial killer.
yeah,
Once again, it was like really compelling, and the opening to this movie, I think, really does set the tone. It's really beautifully done. Yeah, amazing cast. One thing the last thing I'll say in terms of my critique is that when Carmine Falcone gets shot and they do find the Riddler in, the diner and arrest him, I kind of feel like to me that's kind of where I don't want to say where the movie ends, but I feel like once that part wraps up and then we go on to the final act, that's where it starts to feel a bit long for me.
okay.
Obviously, ironically, that's where you get, most of your action. But I think that it still was a bit long. Um, did you feel the
It,
same or not so much?
I get it. I did feel like it's like another story tagged on. But I guess that's the Se7en influence again, right? Because again, spoiler for Se7en. Because there you have he like the killer gives himself up, and then there's this whole thing in the desert still. It is shorter in Se7en, but I think they have the same idea that it's this false ending of the Riddler giving himself up, but then having like another plan that he made like ages ago. And I like the idea that Batman can't stop it. Like it's already in motion, and by the time he figures out what's happening, it's already happening. Like that's how smart the Riddler is. So I kind of got back into it after initially thinking, oh, this is just another bit. Um, and like the visuals help. I love that. I love the visuals of when it's flooded and he leads the people out, and it's just that over
Yeah,
shot with the colors and the people following behind him in like a V shape. So,
with the red flare.
yeah, with the red flare as well. That was an awesome shot. Like, bring it to me as a poster or something. Um, so yeah, I kind of up and down with that last bit, but probably mostly up. Um, the only thing I didn't like, if I'm allowed to go back, because you mentioned that scene with Alfred in the hospital, like that scene where he gets the bomb. I like that. It's very tense and everything, but we immediately see that he survived. I wish they would have left that little bit of extra space between um, the bomb like going off and us finding out that he actually survived. Um, just for the tension, I guess, and just for the emotional like strength of that scene. But yeah, bit of a nitpick, but just something I wish that they would have done differently.
No, I do get where you're coming from. Even maybe if he lost a limb or something, that could have been interesting. You know, maybe,
Hashtag meme Alfred.
oh, I mean, I mean, it could have worked. It could have worked. But the final question I want to ask you before we give our review scores is obviously, we're currently watching HBO's The Penguin, which is building on directly on from the end of the Batman. Obviously the Batman Part 2 is scheduled for 2026. Matt Reeves has talked about how this is still going to be a mystery. He didn't say murder mystery, but still a mystery-based movie. What's your thoughts like overall quickly in terms of your anticipation for where this world of the Batman could go?
Ooh, I don't know, to be honest. Like uh, I know nothing about the second part. I guess I don't know if anyone does. But like, do they do a time skip? Is he now, a more established Batman and everybody is um who they are, basically? Like we have a Riddler, we have a maybe a Joker, we have a Penguin, and now it's just Batman against the Rogues Gallery or something. Uh, I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah. I mean, the time skip thing, I think, is something that's very key if they do that or not, because I think that gives you a very good insight into how, at least the presentation of things, if the Batman does indeed take place, part two does indeed take place pretty much right off the heels of where HBO's The Penguin may leave us with,
Mm.
then that's interesting because then you'll kind of realize that we're pretty much following a story slap bam in real time.
Mhm.
So it'll be quite fascinating. I wouldn't mind the time skip though. I wouldn't mind new suit, a bit of a development. However, I'm open and I'm very excited. So that will do us for our review of Matt Reeves' The Batman. Of course, on this channel we have a new review system where we, instead of giving a, let's say, a 5 or 8 out of 10, we give a 5 ICs or 6 ICs out of 10. We use a little IC slush puppy, tango ice blast, whatever you want to call it in your jurisdiction, just like the Penguin, good old Uncle Oswald, just like he does, we use a little IC system. So, The Batman, how many ICs will you give this movie out of 10?
Um, I would say 8. 8 out of 10. Um, just for the I love the story. I love the murder mystery stuff, the serial killer stuff. It's really up my alley. I did want more from Pato, from old good old Pattinson, just in the Bruce Wayne department. Yeah, but I really enjoyed it. I think even on the third watch. So 8 out of 10 ICs.
Perfect. Well, once again, we are twinning today because I'm going to follow right behind you and give this 8 ICs out of 10. I absolutely do love this movie. I really do enjoy it. There's so much promise. There's so much beauty with it. You know what? Actually, change that. I'm going to go for 8.5 ICs out of
Oh,
10. I
deserved.
think it deserves like a couple more because I'm reminiscing now. So you're going for 8 ICs out of 10, and I'm going for
Sticking with
8.5 ICs out of 10. So that will do us for our review of Matt Reeves, The Batman. Once again, we are No Drama, Just Movies. If you like this video, if you like our content, please subscribe to our channel. We come out with weekly reviews in the world of movies and TV. Please comment, like, share. We're just two movie and TV loving friends who love to have a good old chat about Zoe Kravitz and everybody in between in the world of movies and TV because we love Catwoman, clearly. Once again, we are No Drama, Just Movies. Thank you so much for tuning in to our review today. My name is Cameron Thumb Drive Kelly Smith, and I am joined by my esteemed Gothamite here.
El Rata Alara.
Oh, that's
Yeah, I
right.
didn't do the full part. Oh well. Uh,
He's got wings now. He's got wings now. Thank you very much for checking out our review today, guys. We are No Drama, Just Movies, and we will see you very, very soon. Take care, guys.
all right.